So this group of Canadians were on a bus tour in Holland, and they went to this cheese farm where the guide explained to them that they use goat's milk to produce the cheese, and she went through the various types of processes that they used. And then she pointed out to this pasture, and there was these goats grazing in this pasture, and she says, well, when our goats get old and they can't produce anymore, we put them out to this pasture. She said, what do you guys do in Canada with your old goats that fail to produce? And this fellow says, we send them on bus tours. So these two Newfies, if you're from Canada, you know who Newfies are. If you're from America, well, they're kind of from the rock. But they're good guys, good people. Anyways, these two Newfies are out fishing. It's a quiet day, and one of them decides he's going to have a cigar. So he pulls a cigar out and realizes, I forgot my lighter. Listen, boys, he said, have you got a lighter? He said, sure. So his buddy reaches into his tackle box and he pulls out this 10-inch Bic lighter. And he gives it to his buddy. He said, geez, he said, that's the biggest Bic lighter I've ever seen. He said, where'd you get that? He said, well, I got it from my genie. He said, you got a genie? He said, yeah. He said, well, where is he? He said, he's in the tackle box. He said, do you think he'd grant me a wish? He said, I don't know. He said, he lets him out and he says, your master told me he might grant me a wish. He said, sure I will. He said, what would you like? He said, I'd like $1 million. So he says, okay, you got it. And then he goes back in the tackle box. So 10 minutes go by, and he looks up, and the sky's black. There's like 1 million ducks. It's black, and it's noisy as hell. And he turns to his buddy, he said, what the hell? He said, I asked him for $1 million, not 1 million ducks. He said, yeah, I forgot to tell you, boys. He said, he's a little hard of hearing. He said, do you think I asked him for a 10-inch Bic? Anyways, these three ladies were on their golf course, and they were on the 4th green, and they were getting ready to putt. And this guy comes out of the bushes, and he's stark naked, wearing a mask. And he jogs past them, and they're checking him out as he goes by. And one lady says, well, that wasn't my husband. And the second lady said, well, that wasn't my husband either. And the third one says, hell, he isn't even a member of this club. See, you got a picture of this little Irish pub, right? So there's these two guys have been sitting there drinking for about 2 hours, and they've been mumbling back and forth. And then finally one of them says, the other, he says, I can tell by your accent. He said, you sound like you're from Dublin, are you? He said, that's where I'm from. He said, which part? He said, East Dublin. He said, I'm from East Dublin. What a coincidence. He says, what street did you grow up on? He said, Carmichael. He said, I grew up on Carmichael. I can't believe this. He said, he said, what school did you go to? He said, I went to St. Mary's, of course. He said, I went to St. Mary's. He said, I can't believe it. He said, when did you graduate? He said, I graduated in '95. He said, so did I. He said, I cannot believe this. Small world, he says. He says, tell me, he says, when were you born? He said, October. I don't believe it. I was born in October. Okay, one more. He said, what date? He said, the 16th. Lori B. said, I was born on the 16th. What a small, I can't believe, what a coincidence in a little place like this. And just then one of the local gals walks in and she goes up to the bartender. She said, Bob, she said, give me a shanty. So Bob makes her a shanty and he gives it to her and she says, so how's it going, Bob? He said, not very good. She said, why not? He said, it's going to be a long night. Why is that? He said, the Murphy twins are drunk again. So this wealthy guy was having an affair for many years with this Italian girl, and one day she came up to him and she said, listen, I'm pregnant. And he said, well, look, you know my position. He said, I can't afford to jeopardize my marriage or my position in the community. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, if you go to Italy and have the child, I'll give you a great deal of money. And he said, I'll look after you and everything will be fine. She said, okay, that'll be good. She said, how are you going to know when the baby's born? He said, well, just send me a postcard and write spaghetti on it. So 6 months goes by, and one day a postcard arrives. And his wife gives it to him, and she says, I got this really strange postcard. He said, I'll just give it to me, don't worry, I'll explain it later. So he turns the postcard over, and on the back it says, spaghetti, 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 spaghetti. 3 with meatballs, 2 without, send extra sauce. So I called it, I'm going to just take a little pause here and take a breath, and I'm a little nervous and I don't know why. Anyways, that should have been vodka, not water. Anyways, I call this part random thoughts, just, throw them out there. My goal for 2019 was to lose 10 pounds. I've only got 14 more to go. A recent study found that women who carry a little extra weight live longer than the men who mention it. And I get a couple just bizarre questions. How do you know when you're out of invisible ink? I don't know. What happens if you get scared half to death twice? I got to tell you the story of baldness. Well, you can see, right? And there's a few of us out here, Anyways, here's the story of baldness. When you're bald in the front, it means you're a thinker. And when you're bald in the back here like a monk, it means you're sexy. And when you're totally bald like me, it means you think you're sexy. So anyways, I intend to live forever. So far, so good. My mechanic told me, he said, I couldn't repair your brakes, so I made your horn louder. And I got this from a good friend of mine, Isabel. This is for you, ladies. Cremation, your last chance for a smoking hot body. Okay, and finally, they say that during sex, you burn off as many calories as running 8 miles. Who the hell runs 8 miles in 45 seconds? So this guy goes into this crowded bar and he's got a pistol in his hand and he says, this is a 1911 Colt 45. It's got 6 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. And I want to know who's been fooling around with my wife. Some guy at the back yells, you need more ammo. So this guy was sitting out in his backyard one summer day, and he's retired and all that, and he was thinking about his life, and he was thinking about, what's going on in the world, and he started getting down, and he started thinking about his friends he'd lost, and then he was thinking of all his aches and pains and all this stuff, and he was getting really down. And he said, man, I'm telling you, so he phoned a suicide hotline, and an automatic thing said, for English, press 1, so he did, and he got a call center in Pakistan, and this guy comes on, he said, can I help you, sir? He said, yeah, listen, I'm feeling really depressed. As a matter of fact, I'm feeling suicidal. The guy got really excited and he said, can you drive a truck? We're screwed, I'm telling you. So this guy had a female dentist and he went to her and she was going to do an extraction. So she says, okay, she said, so she brings a needle over. She says, I'm going to give you some Novocaine. No, he said, I can't have any needles, no needles. So he says, she says, okay. She said, so she pulls the gas over and she goes to put it on his face. He said, no, I can't have I can't have anything on my face. Nothing. She said, well, can you take pills? He said, yeah. So she said, just a minute. So she go back, comes in and she says, open your hand. So she drops 2 blue pills in his hand. And she says, take those. So he takes them. And he says to her, were those Viagra? She said, yes. He said, I didn't know they were good for pain. She said, they aren't, but you're going to need to hold on something. Why pull that? So this guy was driving home with his buddy after work, and they went by the local hotel, and they had the daily special out on the sign, It said, lobster tail and beer. And he said, would you look at that, boys? 3 of my favorite things. The punctuation, you know. So, this old man, he decides he's shuffling down the street. He decides he wants to go to an ice cream shop. So he goes in and he goes up, and they got all, you know, the counter, and they got all the stools. So he goes in like this, and he gets up and he gets over the stool, and he gets up like this, and he gets himself up, and he's like this, and he leans on it. The girl comes over and he says, "Can I help you?" He said, "I'd like a banana split, please." She said, "Crushed nuts?" He said, "No, arthritis." Anyways, where was I? Okay. So this guy wakes up in the hospital and he's bandaged from head to foot, and the doctor comes in. He said, "Good, you're awake." He said, "You were in this horrific accident." He said, "But believe it or not, you didn't have any broken bones. You got a few scrapes and bumps and bruises, a few internal injuries, but nothing major. But I do have kind of one bad thing." He said, "Your penis was cut off. But," he said, "I've got good news." He said, "We got artificial ones that work better than real ones." And he said, "You've got $10,000 worth of insurance, and it'll cover, it's $1,000 an inch, you can have up to 10 inches. But it's a very important decision to make. When your wife comes in tonight, I want you to discuss it with her, and I'll come in the morning, you can tell me what you decided." So he comes back the next morning, says to the guy, "So did you just talk with your wife about this?" He said, "Yeah." "What did you decide?" He said, "We're going with granite countertops." Okay, how many farmers we got out here? Anybody retired farmers? We got a few? All right, okay, so I got to tell a livestock story and then I'm out of here. So this traveling salesman, when he had time, he used to get off the main roads and he'd go on the beaten path, you know. And so he's driving down this country road and he goes by this farm, and there's a big board down by the fence. And its left rear leg is a wooden leg. And I said, "What the hell?" So he goes up to the farm and he gets out, and the farmer comes out, "Can I help you?" He said, "Listen, can't believe this." He said, "I just was down there, there's a big old board down there with a wooden leg." He said, "What the heck's the story there? Can you tell me?" He said, "Oh," he said, "that's a special pig." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, how did he get the wooden leg?" He said, "Well," he said, about 10 months ago, our son was out back by the pond. I was in the barn, the wife was in the house, and he fell in the pond and he couldn't swim. That pig came out of nowhere, jumped in the pond, grabbed him by the scruff of the neck, pulled him out, saved his life. Guy, that is a special pig. He said, "But how did he get the wooden leg?" He said, "Wait, I'm not done." He said, "About 6 months ago, I was out plowing the back 40 and I wasn't paying attention, and I kind of dozed off and I fell off the tractor. The tractor kept going. It came around, it was going to run me over. That pig came out of nowhere, grabbed me by the overalls, pulled me out of the way and saved my life." He said, "Wow," he said, "that is a special pig." He said, "But how did he get the wooden leg?" He said, "Well, come on," he says, "the pig is good as that." He said, "You can't eat them all at once."